What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Absolutely April, here for another recap. And we are here for another reality show on Netflix called Love is Blind. Y'all know the song by Eve, Love is Blind, and it'll take over your mind. That every time I see Love is Blind, that song comes to my head. But yeah, we're here to talk about Love is Blind. And we are on episode 5 through 7. The other ones have already been unlocked. However, I haven't gotten to it yet, but I plan on getting to it this weekend so we can talk about that. So if you're here, you're new to my channel. I'm Absolutely April. I do recaps on TV shows, reality shows, movies. I throw in some spirituality tips. You never know what you're going to get from me. So you might as well go ahead and subscribe and join the community, join my tribe, so you can be kept abreast of everything that has to do with reality and also spirituality. I like them both. So also hit the like button if you're here, get me put in the algorithm. Also hit the upload, the notification bell so you'll be notified about all of my uploads. And like I always say, sharing is caring. Go ahead and share the video as well. Because I know there's some other fans out there that I haven't reached yet. So if you know some, share with them. Share with a friend. So, and if you're returning to my channel, thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Thank you to my new subscribers. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And like I said, we're here to talk about Love is Blind. We are on episodes 5 through 7. It's been a lot going on with Love is Blind. I have some thoughts. It's been some topics that have been discussed on Love is Blind that I think we really need to get into as well. So let's not belabor the point. Let's not belabor the point. Let's go ahead and talk about it. So we are in Love is Blind. We are starting in we're on season 3. We're starting on episode 5. Check out my 1 through 3 episode. I'll probably put it a card in on one of these sides. You should be able to click on that if you want to see my review of episodes 1 through 4. Yeah, 1 through 4. So let's get into it. Episode 5 is called Trouble in Paradise, and definitely it was some trouble in paradise. Cole and Zainab asked if she's having second thought. Cole asked Zainab if she's having second thoughts since she's met some of the men that she dated in the pods. And she says no. Of course, Zainab, she's all into Cole at this point. She doesn't have any second thoughts. And so Zainab flips it on Cole and says, do you have any second thoughts? And when I tell you, Cole was definitely twerking on a fence because he was like, you could have played the Jeopardy song as he was trying to come up with the answer. It was like, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. I mean, it literally took him a long time to say, no. I'm happy with what I got. And, so Zainab already has a little insecurity issues. So that did not help her in her insecurity and her self-esteem. So, yeah, that whole hesitation really kind of threw her for a loop. But he eventually tells her, no, I'm happy with my decision. No, you ain't, Cole. No, you ain't. You are into Colleen. You have seen Colleen, and he already knew in the past that he was going to be attracted to her, but he didn't realize how attracted he was going to be to Colleen. And so now you're sitting here looking at Zainab like, oh, you're not what I would typically go for, but we have the emotional connection. Save it, Cole. Save it. You are into Colleen right now, and you are, in your mind, I feel like he's having regrets. So, like I said, I put in my notes that, Zainab is really showing a lot of insecurities. I don't know, what was going on in her childhood. Maybe she had some, maybe she liked, maybe she felt different because you could tell she has a different ethnicity. So if she grew up in a predominantly white area, and I'm just throwing this out there for example, and maybe she wasn't considered the beauty queen, that kind of did a number on her, and it still could be kind of playing in her head that I'm not the beauty queen, I'm not the first pick, but she's really into Cole. You could definitely tell she's into Cole. So we move on to Alexa, and Alexa and Brennan are talking about, her wardrobe and things that she likes. So she likes to shop. Alexa is definitely, you can tell she's a little well off. And we'll see her family on down the line, but you could tell she makes decent amount of money. She's well off. She likes nice things. And she told Brandon, I don't wear my outfits twice. I mean, I love that, Alexa. I love that you don't wear your outfits twice. Me, on the other hand, and you'll probably see in my videos, you'll see a hoodie more than once because I work from home and I'm comfortable at home, so there's no need for me to really dress up. But I am going, I'm gonna do a little something, something. I'm gonna get there, but I feel Alexa. I mean, she doesn't wear her outfits twice, so okay. To me, Alexa and Brennan, they are definitely opposites attract because she seems like she likes the luxurious and opulence of life, and he's just like a down home country boy. And I wonder if that's going to end up causing them issues because I think Brennan, like, he will, go along to get along with Alexa, but I don't know if that's going to end up being enough for her. So comment down below. Let me know what y'all think about that. So we move on to Nancy and Bartisa. Nancy's unclear why Bartisa even likes her because she looks at her and she looks at Raven. These are his top choices, and they are nothing alike. Raven is like this hot Pilates instructor and blonde hair, nice figure, and Nancy is just like a roundaway girl. She's the girl next door. She's cute. She's perky, and she's like, we have no similarities. Like, why do you like me? And she's just trying to understand. Like, we don't look like, I don't seem like your type. And so they're talking about that, and definitely he tells her that Raven is definitely his type. And, in a perfect, or in the real world, he would have gone for a Raven, and he knows that. Like he said, typically you would see us, and you would think that we would be good together, but then he tries to appease Nancy and says, but I'm here for the emotional connection. Him and Cole is saying the same script, different person, but same script. They're telling Zenab and Nancy the same things, and I hate that for them because because they met in an unconventional way. You want the person that you connected with to also be attracted to you. So to find out that they are not as attracted, I can see where that can cause some strife. So the couples end up going into a pool party. Let's see what's the next. So we're looking at Nancy. What Nancy was saying, how she feels about Bartisa. Like she's like, I'm nothing like that. I'm nothing like that. And you are clearly smitten with Raven, and I'm not. I look nothing like Raven, and I think Nancy is pretty. I think Raven is pretty. I don't, they're definitely nothing alike. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with Bartisa. So the couples are at the pool party, and Bartisa can't wait to get the Raven to talk to her. And he's just like, Raven, I think Raven is basically like paying him dust at this point. She's not as superficial as someone who may come to her and look on the outside. I don't think she does care about her aesthetic, and she cares about what she is. But Raven, you can tell that she has common sense, and she's very grounded in that way, where she's not like, oh my God, you said that I'm beautiful. Oh my God, I'm beautiful. You think I'm beautiful? Like, she doesn't swoon over that. And I like that about her. So yeah, she's a pretty girl, but I don't need you to affirm me. I know that I'm pretty because, I feel that I am. So that's what means the most. Like, how do you feel about yourself? So so Nancy is talking to SK, who is Raven's choice, and she asked him, like, Raven seems a little standoffish, and we're both Scorpio, so we like the touch and we like the affection, and Raven doesn't seem like she's that type of person. Nancy, stay in your lane, Nancy, because don't be dipping and dabbing in what other people got going on. Clearly, SK likes her. He proposed to her. So why are you over here talking about like, I don't know. I didn't think you would like a Raven because she's not affectionate. She seems kind of cold. Like, come on now, Nancy. You feeling insecure about Raven because Bartisa is into Raven. Don't go over there meddling in Raven's situation with SK. Like that's not right. So SK says, there is some sexual tension with Raven, and he's trying to figure out how to make his move. He's like, I won't say Rico Suave, but he's kind of like he's kind of looking for Raven to take a lot of the lead on that. He doesn't want to be too upfront. Seems like he doesn't want to be too forceful on her. He wants to make her as comfortable as possible. I like SK. I feel like he's a really, really nice guy. But he is Nigerian, and I'm not trying to be stereotypical, but they are very traditional. So I want to see if that's going to end up coming out because Raven is not a traditional wife. She doesn't seem like she's going to take to traditional, being a traditional wife too much. And SK, even though he says he's not traditional and he's coming off as not as a traditional Nigerian, I feel like there is something there that could be possibly, that he wants a wife to do, or maybe not, but I don't know. It will remain to be seen, and I don't think Raven's gonna like that. If he wants to be a traditional husband and have a traditional wife type situation. So the ladies get together and they're talking, and Alexa is oversharing. She's telling, sex with Brennan was, tricky at first, and she said that he had to jam it in. So I'm assuming that, she was a little, inexperienced for a little bit, or she's been out the game for a little bit, and so getting back in the game and getting her feet wet in the game, if you know what I mean. It was a little tricky at first, but they got it. They are smooth sailing now. So Bartisa and Raven, they're talking, and he's definitely attracted to her. You could definitely see it. Like he's all in her face. He's like he's definitely feeding off of Raven. He likes her beauty. He likes her body. He just likes Raven, and so he is drawn to her at this point. And so he asked, Raven, is she good with her choice? And she's like, yes, she's good. I'm good with my choice. And SK, I did it for a reason. That's the person I want to be with. So Raven says right here, like in her confessional, she says, well, Bartiz got all these compliments for me now that we're outside of the pod, but inside the pod, he didn't have any compliments for me. She was like, she's not feeling that. And I'm so glad that she said that. I mean, she picked up on that, all that complimenting that Bartiz is doing and that skinning and grinning, looking like a chess cat in her face. She's not even buying it. So good job, Raven. So Cole asked Colleen about Matt and if she, had reservations. Colleen says no, but she will see in the real world. She still wants to see a little bit of what they got going on. So here is a side by side. Raven is definitely into SK. She's feeling SK, and but I think Nancy is kind of looking at Bartisa a little bit sideways because, like you really feeling Raven, and you're not feeling me. So I'm definitely seeing that she's catching on to the vibes that Bartisa is throwing out towards Raven. So here's Cole and Colleen talking, and they are talking about he's like, yeah, I'll be attracted to you. You're my type, and blah, blah, blah. You're my type. And she's like, yeah, I would have been attracted to you too. You would have been my type of guy. But nevertheless, Colleen did say that she is happy with Matt. She likes Matt. She's glad, she's with Matt. But, y'all have to realize that you all are engaged. I know it's a different type of scenario of how y'all got together. Y'all all dated each other at one point in time. But yet still, Matt has already told Colleen that he has had a girlfriend or a wife that cheated on him and ended up having a baby. So she has to really, I hate to say walk on eggshells, but she has to be cognizant of the fact that Matt has dealt with that in the past. So he's going to be kind of a little bit on edge about her dealing with other men. But there is a caveat. Matt needs to get healing. Matt needs to be healed from that. You can't keep dragging that baggage along from that relationship into this relationship. Colleen is not that girl. But if you are seeing some traits in Colleen that remind you of said girl, of the girl from the past, then yes, that's something that needs to be addressed, because this may be something that's going to make and break your relationship. Colleen may be just one of those girls who like to flirt with guys. And if that makes you uncomfortable and she doesn't feel like that's a trait she wants to change in herself, then you're going to have to figure out if that's something you can live with. But yeah, Matt definitely needs a lot of healing because the way he pops off is unacceptable. So Colleen asked Cole about Zainab, and she said asked if she would have she asked about Zainab, and Cole says he wouldn't have picked her because if they were in the real world, he wouldn't have picked her because that's not his type physically. He saw her and Colleen is his physical attraction. Like that's who he would physically be, drawn to. So again, Cole, you're oversharing. You're oversharing. Like this is not going to make, when Zainab looks at this back, this is not going to make her feel any better, about you all situation, because you keep continuously saying physically. She's not big at all. So I don't even know. I mean, she's not super, super thin, but she has a cute shape. Zainab, to me, is very pretty. She looks exotic. I love her. She looks pretty. Now her attitude sometimes is a bit, like her passive aggressiveness is a little bit like a wet rag, but I think just outwardly she's a pretty girl. So I don't know why he keeps, throwing it out there that, she's physically not, like she's like 300 pounds. She's not that big. I don't see Zainab being that big at all. So Colleen does confirm to Cole that he would have been her type as well. So Matt is on the now. I don't know if this is just editing, but Matt is on somewhere looking upset when he sees Cole and Colleen talking. And Zainab looks like she has some issues too, because this is the cut screen of her looking. So I don't know. It could just be editing, but it just looked like okay, everybody's a little uncomfortable about their significant other talking to one of their connections from the pod. So that's interesting. So Raven says she's falling in love with SK and feels that they can go the distance. And I feel like they could too. I honestly feel like she and SK can go the distance. And I think that she's going to have to embrace his culture, but he's also going to have to compromise and not be such a traditionalist in his culture. He's going to have to allow her to have some freedom, because I think if she feels stifled in any way, I think that she's going to book it. She's going to get up out of there. So Nancy, so this is them. They're getting closer. She's being more affectionate, because when it first started, child, she was like a football length away from SK. So now they are, she's leaning on him. She's being more vulnerable with him. I like this. I like them, getting closer together. So this is Zainab. She's asking Cole, about the whole Raven situation, and, not Raven. She's asking Cole about Colleen, and Zainab made like a horrible, horrible mistake. I don't know if I'm there yet, but I'm not there yet. We'll get there because we're going to talk about it. So Nancy asked Bartisa how it was, talking to Raven. And Bartisa says, looking at them physically, hearing Raven would make sense, but he has an emotional connection with Nancy. He keeps saying this, but I feel like Bartisa, at this point, if it was a wedding day, he would say no. So he asked he asked if, Nancy, if she thinks that Raven and SK will say yes on the wedding day. And she says yes. Now, I don't know if Bartisa was looking for her to say no or something, but so he could shoot his shot. But he definitely is very invested in what Raven and SK got going on. So Bartiz says that he worries, tells Nancy that he worries they will fizzle out because his last relationship, where it ended up just fizzling out. So he's scared that that's going to end up happening with them. And I think in the back of his mind, because he knows he's not physically attracted to her, that the emotions are not going to just keep him there. So he's worried that it's going to eventually fizzle out. So Bartiz also asked if the wedding day was the day, would she say yes? And Nancy said she would. But Bartiz definitely seemed like he was unsure. He was like, we haven't gone through anything. We haven't been through, our relationship hasn't been tested. How do you know you would say yes? And so he's kind of like, seems to be unsure and projecting his uncertainty onto Nancy. And that can't make Nancy feel good. To be on the receiving end of that can't make her feel good, and that can't make you feel secure. But Nancy seems like she's the positive type of girl. She's going to continue to be optimistic, but I know in the back of her mind, she has some doubts. So now we get to Zenab and Cole, and this is the slide right here where Zenab and Cole, they're talking about the pool party, and Zenab asked Cole to rate her, what would he rate her? And he said, I will rate you, I will give you a 9 out of 10. And she asked, would there be anybody here that you would consider a 10 out of 10? Girl, don't ask questions you don't want the answer to, Zenab. Why would you ask that? So Cole, not being self-aware, goes in and tells the girl that the 10 out of 10 would be Colleen and also Raven. Why would you tell her that, Cole? You already know she's very particular, and you could tell she has some insecurities about her physical appearance. You are just saying that she's a 9 out of 10 and you're giving Colleen a 10 out of 10. That is already just like that has thrown her energy is off at this point. Like, she is really questioning their relationship and what they have together. And if I was an insecure person, I would also feel that way. And so Zenab admits that she does have a lot of self-esteem issues. And Cole doesn't seem to understand that. She has a lot of self-esteem issues that, I feel like it's something from the past, and I feel like it may be from teenage years that, when you are starting to like boys, and maybe boys are not always like her back. Because to me, she is very much a pretty girl. So I don't understand why she would feel like that, but I can't tell people how to feel. Sometimes situations may occur in your life that make you feel that way, and my heart just goes out to Zenab because Cole is not making her feel secure at all, and is really probably making those insecurities come out and blare out on the screen the way they are. So at this point, Matt and Colleen are in a full-on argument because of her conversation with Cole. So Matt feels Colleen should have just shut it down. And Matt is worried that, he's being played because, again, he hasn't fully healed from what happened to him, being cheated on and his girl having a baby on him. So he's still carrying that with him. And he's like, I don't want to be played. So all that anger from that whole past relationship is coming into play right now, and he's projecting everything onto Colleen. Colleen is upset. She's sad. She just like, I didn't know how to react. He was telling me he's attracted to me, and I just kind of answered the question and said, I would be too. It wasn't a big deal. I don't see where it was a big deal. I probably would have maybe shut it down, but when you're in the situation, sometimes you just don't know what to do. You're there to film a show. So she maybe thought, I don't want to, I'm here to film a show. So, they get back on, they're going to get back on the same page. So yeah, we're at episode 6, and Matt and Colleen, like I said, they're back on track. They talked about it. They moved through the situation. Thank God, because Matt was looking like the Incredible Hulk, turning all type of colors. He was right here stomping around. Matt he seemed like he gets really mean when he gets mad. He worries me. He definitely worries me. So the couples get their phone back. They're still in Malibu. They get their phone back and are 3 weeks away from their wedding. Um, so they get shared apartments in Love and Blind, very similar to Married at First Sight. They get shared apartments, so they get to start staying together and get to know each other. Um, Now, Zenab is very passive aggressive towards Cole and his dirty laundry. I am wondering if this lady is a Virgo, because she's definitely a neat freak, but she's passive aggressive. Like, she's like, so that there is a laundry room for your dirty clothes, right? Instead of saying, hey, can you make sure you pick up after yourself or something like that? Or don't forget to pick up your, this shirt off the floor, when you're done, because, we want to keep everything as neat as possible. She kind of did it in a passive aggressive way. And I know that Cole has brought that up before about Zenab being very passive aggressive. He doesn't like it. And she does have to get control of that. You need to be a little bit more assertive in your communication style with Cole, and don't seem like a nitpicky person. I know it says in the Bible that it's better to live on top of a roof than in a house with a nagging, nitpicking woman. It's definitely in the Bible. Go look it up. But it's like, who wants to be in a house with someone who's constantly nitpicking everything? That gets on your nerves. So she has to figure out a way to kind of hone that in, because that's not attractive either at all. But also, someone who leaves their clothes all over the floor is not. So we got to get that under control, Cole. We are not a child anymore, Cole. So SK teaches Raven some Nigerian words and a little bit about his culture. So I enjoyed watching that, to hear, a little bit about Nigerian culture, and the fact that Raven was receptive to learning a little bit more, and to kind of know how to greet elders and how to talk to people, and, stuff like that. So I thought that was really good. We find out that Cole's family doesn't want to be a part of the process. They don't agree with how the Love is Blind process, and they just don't want to be a part of it. So they don't want to meet Zenab, not at this point. They don't want to be a part of the process. Cole says, tells them like, hey, well, you don't have to be on camera, but I would still like you to meet Zenab. They don't want no parts of it. So that's hard. So let's see. Raven, let's see. Raven has an issue with the late night calls from Nigeria. She is, because of the time difference, they call and they talk all night. And she was like, I have to get my sleep. And I couldn't sleep with all that cackling from Nigeria. And so SK says, look, I will walk out the room so you can get your sleep. They just don't take that into a factor, like the time difference. So yeah, that's a bit much. And Raven was not feeling that. In the morning, she was just like, look, I need my rest. They was on the phone talking all night in Nigeria. So yeah, she was not used to that. So yeah, SK, you might want to exit out the room when someone's sleeping than sitting on the phone talking all night. So Nancy shows Bartisa some of her properties that she has with her ex. And so Bartisa is kind of feeling like, she's hid it from him. Instead of, she didn't make it seem like that. She was like, he's her real estate agent, but it's more than that. They are actual partners. They own the properties together. He pays for the properties and all that kind of stuff. So Bartisa's like, I wasn't prepared for that. And so that makes him a little uneasy. Now, I couldn't find a slide from the actual show, but this is something showing that, what Nancy does. She renovates the homes and flips them and stuff like that. So this is a little clip I did find to show about, Nancy doing her flipping house things. So Alexa, I keep wanting to call her Alexis, but Alexa wants to be a stay-at-home mom and she eventually asked Brennan for a prenup. Brennan is okay with the prenup. He was like, look, I'll sign whatever you want. Whatever you decide, I'll sign it. It's not a big deal. So it's just at this point, Alexa seems like she's a little bit more well off than Brennan. I again feel like that this could cause an issue with them in the future. Like they are just on two different levels on that. I don't know because I don't know if she's going, especially for her to want to be a stay-at-home mom, you would have to really rely on a man to kind of make, a good living to be able to support you and the family so you could be a stay-at-home mom. So that I don't know if he is making that type of money. We shall see. I think, I don't know exactly what he does. It says like he's a sales manager or something, but I don't know. We would have to see if he would have the type of money to be able to support Alexa. She don't wear the same clothes twice. So, is she going to have money for her shopping? I mean, what's going to happen? Like, I don't know. I think, one of the biggest things with divorce is finances. So if that could cause a problem in this relationship. So Raven does meet SK and his family. I have a slide with SK, her meeting SK. Let me get through it. I know it's out of order. Out of order. Here's her meeting SK's family. So they seem to get along. She likes SK's mom likes her. She seems to be okay with the mom. She's being very open to the culture. And she said one of the things that attracted her to SK is that they had the same vision for their life, but she did reveal that her parents would not be in attendance to the wedding. They are skeptical of this whole process and didn't want to be a part of it. Now, this is the second person in this particular process that has said that their parents have said that. I don't understand that because I'm a parent, and regardless if I agree with what my child is doing or not, it's no way in HE double hockey sticks that I am going to allow my child to go and get married and I not attend, no matter how I feel, agree or disagree. I'm not going to have my child not have their parent there on their wedding day. Like that to me, it seems very mean. I don't care who you are. It's like that's just a mean. That's mean, and it's suspect. Like I'm thinking, like, what kind of childhood did you have for your parent to say, I don't care. I'm not going to attend your wedding. What? Like that just does not make sense to me. So Raven does help the mother prepare a Nigerian meal. She, cuts up some peppers and stuff, and so they eat. And she was like, "Do I have to?" Because they eat them with their hands and stuff. She was like, "Do I have to eat with my hands? Can I eat with a fork?" And they was like, "Yeah, you can go ahead and eat with a fork. It's not a problem." So yeah, that Raven is going to have to get used to some of that with African foods and Nigerian customs and stuff like that. It may be something that she's not used to, so hopefully it won't scare her off because it's so different than how she was raised. So now is also Raven brought up the fact that his mother that with the Nigerians accept her because she is a biracial woman. Would they accept her? And they of course assure her that as long as she loves SK, they love her. It's nothing. No, there's no. It doesn't matter. So we're now 16 days into the wedding. So Bartise meets with Nancy's dad, and I'm going back. Bartise meets with Nancy's dad and her mother. So Nancy's dad and she first, because they divorced, they met with Nancy's dad first, and then after that, they go and meet with her mother. So the brothers didn't seem like they were too enthused with Bartise, but they were just gonna leave, go ahead and and just call a thing. But they got their eye on Bartise. But they did ask a question to Bartise, like if my sister weighed 400 pounds, would you still want to be with her? Would you still love her? And Bartise was honest. He said, no, I'm not attracted to a 400-pound person. But he did say that if if I saw her going in that, gaining a whole bunch of weight, then I would do what I can, because I do love her, to make sure that she is, maybe I help her and work out with her or something like that. I wouldn't let her just get up to 400 pounds. Like, that's just, he said, I'm into health, I'm into, physical fitness. He said, I ain't gonna lie, that's just something, I wouldn't like. So I'm glad he didn't lie to them. So that was a good thing. So this is Bartisa meeting the mother, and the mother is like a bail bondsman, and she's a no nonsense woman. You could tell. She was like, look, you hurt my daughter, I'm gonna hurt you. I taught her how to fight, but I will be there to help, to have my daughter's back at all times. So trust and believe, I got my daughter's back. So, they felt Bartisa out, but she definitely let them know, we are not taking on none of your debt, and I got her back, and she know how to fight. So those are the things that I got from that. So Cole goes to meet Zenob's family, and they're very concerned. I didn't see anything, they, out of the way, but they are definitely concerned about his faith, and who, what his faith is. So I'm assuming they're very Christian. So the fact that Cole comes from a very Christian background, I think that's all they needed to see. Zenob's mom, who's also her stepmom, prays with them, and wishes the best for them. So yes, they're seem like Zenob's family is just, as long as you believe in God and Jesus and everything, you are fine with us. So that's what I got from that meeting. So SK reveals that that he will be moving to go to school in August. So he'll be going all the way to California, leaving Raven back in Texas. So Raven says she wants to keep her apartment, and she doesn't want to give up her quality of living. So her apartment is near her workplace, and it's kind of like, I guess, where, more city like. And so she doesn't want to give up her way of life. She likes her apartment, and she doesn't want to have to suffer because he's, going back to school. Because, SK did tell her, like, I'm getting rid of a lot of things, and I'm going to be living a student life again. Even though he has good financial means at this point, he's going to be kind of, downsizing. So SK says, I'm fine to split the bills. But Raven says, even though you're not going to be living in the apartment like that, I still want you to split the rent as well. And comment down below, what do you think about that? Because I don't know. I'm like, if he's not living there full time, even if you were in this situation, you would still have to pay your rent. So why should SK have to pay your rent just because he's not getting married to you and he's not there? Now, if he was there, there'd be a different story. I think that she should just pay the rent, and he should maybe split the utilities that are incurred. So when he is there, he's going to use the water, the electricity, the gas. So yes, go ahead and split that. But he's not going to be there. He's going to be in school, in grad school in California. So he will probably be there maybe during the summers, maybe. So I don't understand why he should have to pay the rent and split the rent, but maybe throw him a couple bills from, electricity. So, you would have paid electricity normally. Now you ain't got that bill. You don't have to worry about that, and gas or something like that. Maybe even your cell phone bill, something like that. But I just wouldn't put the rent on him. What do y'all think? Like, he already said he's downsizing. He's going to be making what he's going to be making some money because he's going to be now, have a degree, but he needs to get to that point first. He's going to be in school. So should she require him to pay half of her rent? Tell me what you think down below. So Nancy and Bartisa, Lord have mercy, Nancy and Bartisa, they end up talking. So they start talking about, maybe we should, what do you feel about a nanny? Like, they're talking about, their future. So as I'm listening to them, I was like, oh, this is a good conversation to, have, and just to get, a meeting of the minds. So they're having a good conversation. Nancy, they agree on, yeah, we should have a nanny. Yeah, that sounds good. So, she asked, how many kids Bartise wants. She said, 2 to 4 minimum, as much as we can do. So they get on a conversation about the A word. Um, and, Bartisa doesn't agree, but, if you have one slip up, maybe that's fine. But just to do that as a form of contraceptive, no. And so, Nancy raises a question, I'm getting up in age and there is a possibility that you can have a baby that should have Down syndrome. If we find out that during the pregnancy and the A word is an option, what do you think about her taking that option? He's totally against it. But, Nancy felt differently because she's a speech pathologist, so she works with kids with disabilities and see how hard it is on the family and the parents and how much money. And she's just like, if I could prevent that from happening, I would want to do it. Now, it's her choice. She feels like it's her body, it's her choice. Bartisa's like, we have to discuss that. Like, I just don't see it. So they kind of see, they're looking at it through 2 different lenses. And but in my mind, I was glad that they were having a conversation, because that is a big conversation to have. And if you have core beliefs and if they don't align, that could cause an issue in a relationship. So I was glad on one hand that they were having it, but I don't want anyone to be demonized because of their beliefs. That's what I don't want to happen. And that's what I feel like could possibly happen with this whole conversation about the A word. So it was, I like the conversation, but people do have to be a little bit more mature when having these conversations and know that, okay, I'm not trying to sway you or change your beliefs, but I do want you to know exactly where I'm coming from on that. So that's the only thing I'm kind of thinking of. So that was pretty much the end of episode 6. Now we are on to episode 7, and that one is called Meet the Parents. So let's Brennan meets Alexa's parents. And of course, Alexa has said from the very beginning that she's Israeli, and she practices Judaism. She's not like very, very active, but that's who she is, and she loves that about herself. She's not changing it. So Brennan said, Alexa tells her family that Brennan decided that he would convert to Judaism for Alexa. That's a big deal because he comes from a Christian background. And for him to go ahead and change his beliefs for this woman that he just met, that's a big deal. And that's a big decision. So that right there just shows his level of commitment to Alexa, and that's really, really good. Now, the only thing with Brennan and his family, Alexa and her family. Alexa's family is, you could tell they're very well off. They're very proud Israeli people, and they believe their faith. So as Brennan was talking, he was sweating bullets with his family, and it was a lot. You could tell it was a lot. He was on his dad, Alexa's dad was looking at him like, look, mess with my daughter if you want to, it's going to be a problem. And he also said that he didn't envision Brennan for his daughter. And I'm pretty sure he was looking for more of someone who was already Jewish and someone who probably was a little bit more established as far as their business. So I think that was a big deal for him. But I think he saw the love that Brennan has for Alexa, and just the fact that he would convert to Judaism for that in itself was a big deal. And I think that eventually won him over. So, but I really think that they are both looking for someone who's a little bit more well off to be there for Alexa, because yeah, that's going, she has a lifestyle and she appears to have been raised in a certain life, and they don't want their daughter to have to go downward. They want her to be supported and go upward. And I'm not sure if Brennan can be able to support Alexa's lifestyle. Like I said, I think the finances are going to end up being an issue. So Colleen meets Matt's mom, and she has her reservation about the whole situation and how they got together. She has her reservations, and she although she embraces Colleen, she's just kind of, look, I don't want you to hurt Matt, and I don't want Matt to hurt you. So she just seems like she's like looking with the side eye. I think I have a picture of that. Let me see. It's all out of order, child. Yeah, here it is. So yeah, this is Colleen meeting Matt's parents. They have some reservations, but they are going to support Matt no matter what. So they also, some of the Cole and Zenab, they go to Cole's house to see Cole's house and just to see what his apartment was like. Good child. If y'all watch Married at First Sight and saw how nasty Mitch's apartment was, this was on the level of Mitch's apartment. It was nasty. Cole's house was nasty. It had bugs in the toilet. Like, what is in that toilet that is causing bugs? That was disgusting. It was definitely like, ugh. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I was like itching when I saw. I'm itching thinking about it. But yeah, Zena was looking around like, I don't want to touch nothing. She was like, yeah, yeah. I don't want to live like this. Like, this is not going to be something that I want to live like. Um, Cole is still not understanding, why his family are not supporting him. Instead of supporting him, they're sending him Bible verses. Very passive aggressive. Like, that is horrible. I hate when people weaponize religion or try to use it as a manipulation tactic. Like, that is just not something I'm into. So Nancy ends up meeting Bartisa's family. Let me go back, honey. Let me go back. Here we go. So Nancy meets Bartisa's family. Bartise brings up the fact that Nancy and he had a discussion about the A word. And immediately as they started talking about it, Bartisa's sister, Amalia, cries and says she just doesn't believe in it. So, Nancy said, I understand, the reaction. But she said, I do work with those kids and I see firsthand. And she said, I cry. Sometimes after dealing with that, I would cry for hours. And she said, if I could prevent it from happening to my family, I would. So they don't believe in that. And immediately once they found out that stance that Nancy has with the A word, they seemed to be kind of done with it. I think they kind of like threw their hands up. So it appears that Bartise comes from a super religious family, super conservative family. And the only thing I don't like about this is that Bartise brought this up in front of her family. Like, that in itself, that puts her on a defense to have to defend her beliefs. But if you're going to be her husband, you should protect her. And that even includes your family. Like, that, don't put her out there to have to feel like I have to defend myself and feel alone. That's not the way you do things, and that's not the way you have conversation. When you are with your wife, that's an in-house conversation. That has nothing to do with your family. And so now their family is looking at her, his family is looking at her sideways because of her beliefs. And that's not fair. Like, they didn't even get a good chance to even get to know Nancy with who she is. And before you start telling them about, what her belief systems are. I didn't like that at all. So Raven says she's concerned about, being, in the Nigerian culture because she was raised around a lot of white people. So she's more familiar with white culture. She's not familiar with African culture and Nigerian culture. So she's kind of nervous about that. So SK tells Raven's friends, because he meets with Raven's friends, who kind of grill him, and they seem like, lightweight haters to me, because they didn't have nothing nice to say. Like, they didn't even encourage their girl to kind of like, embrace this new culture. They were just like, he going to grad school? This ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. You robbing my friend of a fairy tale. Well, she accepted my proposal knowing that I was going to school. So what do you mean? She accepted that. So why are y'all coming in with all this vitriol, all this, just hate just spewing out? I was like, yeah, I can't. It just seemed like they were not supportive of Raven and her choices. Like, I would have never thought she would have married no Nigerian. Like, it was just a lot. It seemed to me, instead of being supportive friends, it was very hateful to me. So Alexa meets Brandon's family. Brandon's family is basically a farm type family, and Alexis talks with Brennan's mom, and she talks about how his dad didn't believe in kissing on the first date. That when you kiss someone, it should be done with purpose. So she asked Alexa, how did you feel once you did kiss Brennan? And Alexa said, I felt at peace. I don't know. I don't know if she really knew how to answer that, but I think the mother was looking for something else, a little bit more intrinsic, a little bit more like, how did you feel? Like, did you feel butterflies? Did you did you feel like the heavens opened up? I think that's what she was more looking for. And Alexa, I just felt that peace. So we'll see. Um, But his mom does reveal that Brennan is a runner and gets scared at times. So that's a red flag. And I don't know what's going to happen. If the block get hot for Brennan, will he run away and leave, and leave Alexa alone? So after this whole situation with Bartise and Nancy and the whole A word and her beliefs and all that stuff, after the whole thing with the mom, going down and the mom and the sister crying and all that kind of stuff, Bartisa is now pulled away from Nancy. He now, because his family got issues, he got issues. So now he's pulling away from Nancy, making her feel some type of way. And so he's giving Nancy the silent treatment, says his sister is skeptical of her, and he is no longer having a physical attraction to her. So he just basically like giving her lighthearted hugs here and there, and he's just really just pulling away from Nancy. And Nancy sees it, and she's like, I mean, I don't know what else I can do. She's just upset at this point. She was like, I have tried, and now he's pulling away from me and making her feel like a bunch of crap. So now we're at 11 days into the wedding day. So some of the couples, they go for drinks and, to get together and see each other and, kind of catch up. So Zena says, Malibu, she's hanging out with the girls, and she said Malibu was hard for her and Cole. And because mainly because Cole is attracted to Colleen. And so everybody's like, what? She's like, yeah, he said this. And so Colleen, tells Zena exactly what happened between she and Cole and what Cole said. And that doesn't make Zena feel any better, because now she's like, it's just like opening that wound up again about how she felt about how Cole feels about her. So Zena is just like, I'm just in disbelief in what he's saying. He's not acting right. He's not treating me the way I want to be treated. So she's feeling some type of way. So she goes and takes her behind and talks to Matt. So yeah, I thought I had a slide for that, but I don't. So she goes and talks to Matt, and Matt was like, yeah, he getting her all riled up. They both getting riled up together. Yeah, I didn't like that. And then he ends up telling Zena, you shouldn't have to settle for less. So he throwing all type of digs at Cole, because he mad about the whole thing that went down between him and Colleen. So now he back riled up, Zena back riled up, and Cole and Colleen are back on the they're on the list. They're on the list. So Andrew arrives to the party. Some of the old cast that come in that were from the pods, they come to the party. Namely, Andrew comes, and he has, he sits down and talks to Nancy. Now, y'all, Andrew is so, I don't know, I don't know about Andrew, but he does have a sex appeal about him. He is definitely has the sex appeal about him that I like, but I think he's toxic. I think he's toxic at the end of the day. But Nancy and Andrew, they end up talking, and Nancy says, she doesn't regret saying no. So she basically telling like, I'm with Bartise for a reason, and I don't have any regrets about that. But she does admit that Bartise is fading from her. Oh, excuse me, y'all. I'm sorry. She does admit that Bartise is fading from her, and that she isn't his type. I mean, he makes it obvious every minute that she's not his type. So Nancy ends up having a whole full-on breakdown in front of Andrew, and she just vents to Andrew about how, Bartise is making her feel at this point. So Bartise I guess he sees Nancy over there crying, and they, and Andrew sitting cool and, engaged with her. So now he got to figure out what the heck is going on. Is somebody trying to move in on my girl? Now, Bartise, you don't have anything nice to say about Nancy. So now there's somebody else looking at it. Now you want now I gotta come and state my claim. Before, you paid Nancy with dust because you ain't physically attracted in how she feels about her beliefs about the A word. But now you want to come over and swoop in when Andrew get to talking to her. So Bartise interrupts and wonder why, Andrew and Nancy are smiling so much. Now, she was crying. Now, they were laughing and talking, but she was crying most of the time. So Bartise is basically jealous and tells him, and Nancy says, he asks, like, do I need to be worried? Do I need to be worried? Do I need to be worried? So Nancy eventually says, you don't need to be worried. We just over here talking. So he ends up getting up and leaving, like, okay, my girl said I don't need to be worried, so I ain't gonna be worried. So he gives her a kiss and walks off. And I'm just like, Bartise, come on now. Stop sending all these dang on signals, bro. You don't like her when y'all together, but when somebody else that you may be a little bit intimidated by, talking to your girl, that's when you want to show all this bravado. Like, yeah, I see you. So Matt tells Colleen the Cole situation still bothers him, but he's like, bring me back down to earth. Bring me back down to earth. Cole, you have some anger management. I'm sorry, Matt, you have some anger management issues that you need to work out. You are an angry person. And I don't know if I feel safe for Colleen at this point, because any little thing seems to set you off and you go from 0 to 100 real quick. And I just don't know how to feel about that yet. So he says the Cole situation, now that Zainab then came and talked to him about it, it then came back up to the surface for him. So now he's mad again. So Zainab goes and brings up the conversation to Cole again, and she said she hates that it's bothering her and it's taking a toll on her self-esteem. Zainab, I need you to get some counseling, homie. I need you to get some counseling, girl, because this should not be that much of a factor for you. And you're like spiraling at this point, and I hate that for you. And Cole doesn't make you feel any better, but again, you should be as more secure with yourself and who you are. You ain't everybody's cup of tea. You're beautiful. And you may not be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. And if Cole doesn't like you for who you are and doesn't feel like you're attractive, pay him dust. Period. God. So Cole says he just wants to move past it. So, Cole tells Zainab, Cole basically said, well, how about you just marry Matt and and we swap out. So that doesn't make it any better either. Whew. So Cole and Matt end up having a talk. So they come together, and, Matt is leaning forward and Cole is looking like scared. Like, I don't know if the energy that Matt was exuding to Cole, like, look, I'll beat your ass. I feel like that was the case because Matt looked like he was being chastised by his dad. He looked a little scared. So, but Cole, tried to alleviate some of his fears, and what went down, he basically said that Colleen had nothing to do with it. It was all me. I was the one pressing up on her. She was, she wasn't trying. She told me that it was all about you, bro. So, that calms Matt down a little bit. So he's cool at this point, and he said, okay, wow, now that you told me this, I don't feel like I need to worry anymore. So he appears to drop it. And Nancy tells, Bartise, back at the apartment that, he's been acting weird, and tells him, that she will never be his type. And that doesn't make her feel good. And so Bartise says, at the end of the day, looks matter. He said, looks matter, and they have fundamental differences. So I'm just like, I feel bad for Nancy at this point, because she can't change her looks. Well, she can, but she can't. like you're just making it seem like she's just this unattractive girl, and she's not. She's cute, she's perky, she seems nice, she makes her own money. Like, what more could you ask for? But Bartisa says, they have some fundamental differences. Now that I do agree upon, because they are, she talks about her being, how she feels about the A word, and that is a core belief, and that's a core difference, and that could cause an issue in their relationship. Um, so they're at the apartment as they're talking. Matt calls Bartise and asks to speak to Nancy because they're looking for Colleen. Nancy spills the beans and said, Colleen, they went to the club. And so Matt is steaming, steaming, steaming. He's steaming, and Matt says, Colleen said that they would meet him at the apartment. She goes and slides to the club. He's like, "What married woman goes to the club at 2:30 in the morning? She at the club." And so he doesn't like that. Again, I don't know how they got their wires crossed. How you don't tell your husband where you're going. Um, that's a red flag. But at the same time, the way he's acting, he just blows up so quickly, and that's gonna always be a problem in their relationship if he doesn't get a hold of his some anger management. Um, Matt says at this point he doesn't think he can marry Colleen, and that's where we end this whole episode 7. So we talked about episode 5 through 7, and this is where we are at this point. Comment down below, what would you rate these episodes? I would probably give it a good solid 8. It kept me engaged. I can't wait to see where it's going. I don't know. I really don't feel like Matt and Colleen need to get married. I feel like they need to work out some things, and his temper makes me nervous. Colleen and Zainab, I don't see it for him either. Raven and SK, I do see her saying yes, but I'm scared because I won't say I'm scared. That's a little dramatic. But what makes me nervous about them is that I don't know if SK gonna switch it up on her. He's telling her that he's not gonna be a traditional guy. He loves that she's not traditional. I don't know if that's going to end up causing an issue in the relationship in the end. I don't know. So I hope he's really being honest with her about how she feels and how he feels about what he sees as a wife, a duty of a wife. I hope he's being honest about that. And who am I missing? Alexa and Brennan. I'm giving them. I'm iffy because I feel like they may say yes, but I don't know for the long haul if he doesn't do something that that brings in that revenue, that might cause an issue as well. So I think that's all the couples. But that's how I feel. Comment down below. Do you agree, disagree? Let's talk about it. Again, comment, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified about all of my uploads. See you in the next video. Peace.